Hello, welcome back to Keep It Dirty, a podcast where my guests share their life living functionally and sustainably, and the why behind their experiences navigating through our ever changing environment. I am your host, Leslie Dowling. I'm a corporate speaker sharing how one can jumpstart your path to increased revenue and productivity through restorative health techniques. And today it is a pleasure to introduce my guest, Marie-Helene Roussel, she who empowers driven women 50 and over to age joyfully with vitality using nutrition, lifestyle, and wellness tools. So, hello, Marie-Helene. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Well,
How are you?
thank you so much, Leslie, for having me on your podcast. And I've been an admirer of yours for quite a while. I like what
Oh,
you do, and I like what you stand for as well.
thank
So
you. And we are fellow alumni as one of our designations as a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner. And that's how we really connected through group chats. So I would love to hear more about what you're doing and a little bit about your background too, and why you're doing what you're doing today.
yes, and I will try to keep it short because I have a long life, quite colorful. so um, I know that I like when you say that it's ever changing because um, I am 68, getting close to 69, and boy, has it changed.
Mm,
Especially since, when I grew up in France, and I know that even when I think of the way that my parents were living, what they were eating, it was excellent in those days. But if I was to do the same thing, number one, I would not be able to do the same thing because they were accessing some fresh food 3 times a week, which is very difficult here now in these days. But I had a really good example of what longevity could be. Um, and but at the same time, I had I had hepatitis when I was 24, and I heard from doctors there's nothing that we can do for you, so thank you very much. And very soon after, my dear friends were diagnosed with HIV positive, and that was in the days in England where AIDS was really, where every 5 minutes on television you will see that grave just falling backwards, meaning you've got HIV or you've got AIDS, you're going to die no matter what. And I saw what happened for them with all uh, the experimental drugs, etc. And that with my own health journey, I thought, this is it. I'm not going to consult anymore with any doctors. There must be another way. So that's how I started at basically early, maybe I was 30 or not even 30 when I started my holistic health journey and went through everything that you can imagine, all sorts of modalities. Obviously, of course, nutrition and lifestyle, number one, number two, number three. But
mhm.
um, I learned a lot about techniques and modalities and personal development and meditation, and went to India and looked at really the whole connection of body, mind, spirit. And yeah, all of that, in a one package of one life
Wow.
over, over 4 countries. So, uh,
Hmm.
it has been really very, very interesting. And it's only in the US that it felt like a lot stricter. And also, it's possibly not only the US, but uh, time changed. Obviously, we all know that. And
Yeah.
when I was 40 and now, it's completely different what you need regarding titles, certification, etc., etc., which can be a very good thing. So it's only in the US that I got certified in functional nutrition and lifestyle and other things like emotional freedom technique and a bioenergetic uh, technology as well. But before it was more, I was not an academic. I was more somebody who will experiment a
Hmm.
lot on myself and find out what was working and what was not working.
Isn't that amazing? Wow, that's interesting. So all of your experiences, health issues, kind of put you on this plateau of just learning and uh, wow. So what really kind of hit you where it was like that aha moment of this is something that I really want to do? Was it anything that you read? Was there, like who was really like your role model?
You know what? It's that's kind of a hard question because um, well, the best I could answer is that at 33 I decided that I needed to really look at myself, and that was my beginning in my personal development. I'm not even sure these days how we call that, but in my days it was personal development.
Mhm.
And that's how I started even being trained for 4 years to become a therapist through breath work. And so I had my first mentor, somebody called Benny Dansby, that was also the first person to do a documentary in the US in the US or in Europe. Ooh, I forgot about underwater birthing.
Mm,
And
wow.
so that was also part afterwards. I became a therapist. First of all, it was obviously, like we all know, you need to heal yourself before you can help others. So that was, first of all, the training of healing all my conditioning, even from gestation and birth and so on. I know that for some people, especially in those days, that was completely woo woo and
Mhm.
I trained in Reiki 30 years ago when it was like hush hush. When now it's like everybody's a Reiki
That's cool.
almost. So I would say that yes, possibly Benny Dansby was really the person who, my first mentor and the first person who really inspired me and that I followed for 10 years and that really taught me so much about
Hmm.
so many things, and including especially about myself.
Yeah.
And she was also into nutrition and all sorts of other things, and not only about rebirthing, but water birthing, rebirthing, the Course in Miracles, yeah, a whole range of modalities that I studied with her.
So do you incorporate all the different modalities and your studies into your practice, or have you kind of let some of it go and you're really focusing on certain other areas of health and wellness?
It feels like it's more that they're all part of me and part of who I became. And I'm not going to say that I'm using something in particular to help people. It's more that it's part of the package.
Mm,
If I can put it that way, it's like if somebody will come to me for any kind of advice, even because now my niche at my age and with as it's the day and age where you keep hearing you need to have a niche, you have to have a niche, and it really became about redefining what aging is and can be, and I like to really promote that for people to not accept so easily all the conditioning from society and even more from doctors. Like when you go to your doctor and you say, you know, I start to have aches and pains. I'm not as flexible. I can't
Mm.
get up easily. I can't sleep well. I can't, you name it. All the list of health challenges that we can have. And when the doctor say, "Oh, how old are you?" "Oh, you're over 50. That's normal." And that is
Mm.
absolutely not acceptable for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And aging is not a disease. It's not something that you cannot control. It's
Hmm.
like everything else. You can be in charge. You can be the CEO of the way that you age. So, if somebody comes to me for that, they will still get in the background everything else that I've done, because it will come
Yeah.
systematically for me. So, yeah, that's the best I can answer, Leslie.
Yeah, I love that because as an intuitive person, I think when you're open to just absorbing and sharing and being in the realm of a Reiki practitioner or a Reiki master, you kind of tap into what people need. And it's so cool that you have all these different modalities over the years and experiences that you could really um, make it very tailored to the individual and what they need. So I think that's wonderful.
And I think you and I know very well that for instance, if someone has been or has like the most perfect nutrition, the most perfect lifestyle, and they're still not shifting what is going on for them,
Hmm.
and they keep even getting worse, because we see some cases like that. You and I know that there is something, number one, like they haven't found the cause, but they could very well be something connected with the mind and with the psyche and with some
Yeah.
traumas and with some, I mean, this whole range that at times, some people feel a bit insecure of um, getting involved with. And I know that I will stay in my lane, and there are some areas where we definitely tell people, look, I need to refer you to somebody else. But there are also a lot of areas where I can, at least even put the person on that journey. So that's the way that I use everything that I've learned, more than to pinpoint, let me use this or that, or, it's more as a, yeah, part of the package.
Yeah, I love that. And was there anybody, growing up, like were your parents very intuitive, or, as you said, just eating what Mother Earth provides, that we didn't have all the preservatives and the junk that now you see in our food? Was there anyone that really kind of triggered you to kind of be very intuitive, to do what you're doing today?
Well, there was a bit of both, because my father loved nature and loved animals.
Mm.
And that was for me also like, my first love were lions, big cats. Yeah,
Wow.
I know it's not, my mother used to always tell me, why can't you be normal, in the sense of, why can't you be like everybody else or every other girl of your age? And it was like, well, when I grow up, I want to be working with lions. And it's like, yeah, it's not really a girl's profession,
Right.
or the ideal for parents, thinking of that. And then my second love were horses,
Mm.
and my third love were dolphin and whales. So
Wow.
all the animals, and therefore nature, always had a huge impact on, again, on who I am. And when I hear about the Japanese forest bathing nowadays, and it's when I was a lot into selling and doing wild dolphins encounter tours, um, being at sea was the best possible therapy for everybody. And I always used to say also that animals and especially dolphins were the best therapists. But as you know, so horses and therapy with horses is absolutely fabulous. So, in that sense, my father had a great impact on me, as well as living until 99 years and 4 months. So, um, my mom maybe was an intuitive. So, is the sound okay from your end?
Yeah, let me check. Let's just double check echo cancellation. I think we're good.
But I think it's more that I learned also, I learned from them in the way that they were living. Like, again, in those days, they had farmers markets, and my mom would cook some fresh food from scratch every day, and they would do a market 3 times a week. And my father worked until he really couldn't walk anymore. Basically, it was about maybe 6 months before he died. But every day he will walk. He will not take his car. He will go and do the shopping walking to the place. So
Mhm.
it was great example, not academic. It's not, I didn't need to learn it from a school,
Yeah.
but, that's how I grew up. So that's a huge advantage that I have also. And I totally appreciate that. I know that a lot of people didn't have this blessing that I had in my childhood and teenage years.
Yeah, I think the foundation, sometimes when you reflect back, and it's really interesting how you look back, and I just know like my grandmother was very instrumental growing up on a farm in Italy, emigrated to this country, and really gave me the tools to really try to self-preserve, also just love Mother Nature, and use the what Nature provides for any kind of ailments, or the herbs, and composting, which I didn't even know. We didn't really talk about composting. She would just say, just throw it out in the garden. Eggshells. Oh, put the coffee grinds onto where the roses are, and so I just thought everybody lived that way. And it wasn't until she passed that I really had this amazing appreciation for all that we could be so self-sufficient with nature, and really use what's out there.
Mm. No, it's still quite amazing. Like, when I moved to New Zealand in my early 40s, and I had this whole idea of New Zealand, the clean, green New Zealand,
Mm,
because there are it's big compared to the number of people inhabiting the two islands, but they spray like crazy.
wow.
And it was a
Hmm.
big disappointment, but it's like at the same time when I see now, uh, like I don't watch television, but my husband does. So I see, for the ads about the glyphosate, and I'm like,
Yeah, Roundup.
is it finally catching up, or
Yeah.
or am I dreaming?
Wow.
So yeah, but being aware and growing up with a nature component is something that we really would need to reintroduce so much more in our society.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that when I see how disconnected
Yeah.
young people can be, even children can be. I mean, they're connected to their iPhone and iPad, but they're not connected to nature or to animals. And it's not only sad, but it's really bad news for the future, for their future and for the future in general of humankind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
don't want to sound, because I'm definitely an optimist, but uh,
Yeah. But
I,
there's
I
been a lot of changes technologically.
I think that it's being with you, Leslie, as I know that that's something also so important to you, because we first connected also because of your horse, and I,
Yeah.
oh, your horse, and I kind of, I still, they have a great place in my heart, and then knowing that you're also so close to nature, and incorporating nature in everything that we do and everything that we work with is really important.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you were saying, that, Reiki, functional health, um, that is all so accepted even 25 years ago. And um, people, I think, get guarded. Sometimes when you're in fear, you don't want to explore the opportunities that something that might really help you on such a deeper level subconsciously. But I see, people say, well, aren't you hesitant in practicing? And what about if you don't get enough people? And I said, you know what? Whoever will come into my circle, my energy was meant to be. And not every Reiki practitioner is meant for everyone. You kind of have to tap in and tune in to people. And that's also with practitioners or even doctors, because there is a place for them if there is an acute situation where you need medical attention right away,
Sure.
that maybe we can't. So it's not to say that we don't believe in it. I would just like to see more of um, uh, a camaraderie of connection and respect for us to be able to work in unison, because I think there's a place for all of us, in this profession. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and I
Uh,
think it's getting better. It's the optimist in me. So
yeah,
we'll
and
see.
I know that, like, unfortunately, recently, because of a bad infection, my husband, I had to take him to the ER, and
Mm.
uh, that was a time when I need the doctor, we need the antibiotics, we need, what you have to offer.
Sure.
But after the emergency time, there was a time when they had to hear my no, when they
Yes.
wanted to pump him with all sorts of other things that were absolutely not necessary, and in the contrary, that would be detrimental. It's like I had to be like, it's
Yeah.
not an easy no, because they keep pushing and pushing. But I actually met a lot of nurses who will afterwards come to me and say, I exactly know what you're talking about.
Wow.
Even can we have a conversation and so on. So that felt good, thinking, wow, something is shifting. Yes, so
Yes.
something is shifting. Mm.
Absolutely. So, if there's anything that you could have changed reflecting back on things that you've done in your life, is there anything that you would have changed? Or um, sometimes I ask some questions that are kind of out in the air, and I thought, well, let me ask you this: is there anything you would have changed or not?
Um, I think I will have to answer a different way. Is
Oh,
that whenever, if I ever go there, meaning if I ever go into, oh, I wish I would have done that differently, I know I need to do some work on this,
mm,
because I know also that that doesn't mean anything, and that's even what can be stopping me to move forward. So basically, it's a great thing if I become aware of something that, oh, I wish I would have done that differently. I wish that there are some people that I would not have trusted.
mm, mm,
If I keep beating myself up for it, it won't help me. But if I keep working on forgiveness, for instance, about myself and even about them as well, that's what will help me. So I think that that's will be the best way that I can answer you. Um, there is one thing that I'm going to surprise a lot of the audience now,
Oh,
but the one thing that I wish that, not that I would have done differently, but I wish that I would have known before is the power of a good network marketing company
wow.
and the power of, again, like as long as the company is integrity, that's completely aligned with you and your values, etc., etc. But I didn't know the network marketing or the direct sale model of distribution, and it's absolutely wonderful. So that's the
Interesting.
one thing that I wish that I would have known before,
Yeah.
and not in my late late day, or not late days, because um, I always say that 60 is the new 40, so
The new 30s.
yeah, why
There we
not?
go. Age is a number,
Age is
right?
a number, yes, and the attitude also.
Yeah,
What is your attitude about aging? So, like, yeah.
absolutely.
So, yes, that's what I would answer. Listen.
I love that answer. And maybe you could share with all our viewers and listeners what are you up to today? Um, and are you doing any special packages or anything in the summer? If anyone that lives in the area in Florida, I know you said that you have ventured to different, having gatherings. So maybe you could share with everybody what you're up to.
Yes. Well, I work only online, except when I go only in my area to do some expos. And let me explain what kind of expos. 3.5 years ago, I was introduced, or let me backtrack on that,
Yeah.
because my husband was suffering from fainting spells followed by cluster headaches.
Mm,
And that had been going on for 2 years. We had tried everything. And believe me, anyone who knows me, I research, I find what is the best. And we had done stem cell injection, neurofeedback, PRP, exosome, all sorts of various form of chiropractic adjustment, osteopathy, massage,
mm,
a whole range of things, and spent a fortune, and nothing really helped him long term. He would get a little relief
hmm.
for, if he was lucky, for a month, but then it will start again. And the poor man was getting desperate, and to be honest, me too, because he
Oh,
didn't dare to go anywhere, didn't to do anything on his own. I had to be there for him all the time, and working full time and caring for your husband and having to even like drive him anywhere that he needed to go. It was getting pretty tough. Plus, of course, much tougher for him because the pain also of this cluster headache was horrific. And a dear friend of mine told me about this little patch, like the one that I have on. And she told me her story that she had 3 degenerative discs. Same thing, that doctors couldn't do anything for her, and she was for 4 months in excruciating pain because she even had arthritis on the nerves also. And that they
oh,
couldn't do stem cell injection. Apparently, they couldn't do anything. And a friend of hers introduced her to the LifeWave patches. And again, same like for my husband, this took care of her pain in 30 minutes.
wow.
Not saying at all that the miracle moment happens to everyone. And I actually don't wish on everyone, on anyone, that they need that kind of miraculous instant action, because it means usually that they have something very severe going on. And but um and so, before trying it for my husband, and took care of his problem in one evening.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
amazing.
then it's like the beauty of that. It's
Yeah.
that he was 80 years old and 7 months later. And obviously, believe me, we started using these patches every day, really regularly. And even, him, as usually men are, I don't need to tell him to wear his patches. He's like, okay, uh, where did you put them? I need my patches now.
Wow.
And so, but anyway, 7 months later, when he went to see his doctor for his annual physical and annual blood test, etc., the doctor couldn't believe the results. Said, wow, this is amazing. You have results like a 20-year-old. And he was already 81 by then. So then obviously I just started listening nonstop to all the webinars of the inventor and CEO, and
Hmm.
dove into the community, the company, and so on. And I couldn't find anything that I was not aligned with. Even the CEO, I mean, the inventor, every time that he does a webinar, which is once a month at least, he always mentioned nutrition and lifestyle as key foundation. He's not saying, well, this is, the only thing that you need to do ever for your health to be absolutely fabulous. Um, he always promote that. So, really, that's really something that I'm aligned with. And it does, it's absolutely amazing in the sense that for me, honestly, I know it's a little bit hard still to confess, but I was getting tired of arguing with people for them to change their nutrition and their lifestyle. And let's face it, sometimes when people have done so much already and that nothing worked, or they haven't done anything, but at the same time, they're already so depleted
Hmm.
that they don't have, I know I always joke, I call that the oomph. They don't have the oomph to start or to do anything else, like not even drink more water, for instance. And I found out with a lot of people, again, nothing is the key for the miracle thing for everyone. But
Hmm.
for many, many people, I would say at least 99%, it will give them enough of the energy, enough of the oomph to then want to do more
Hmm.
and to say, okay, I'm already feeling so much better with these patches. What else can I do? Can I eliminate some food, or can I drink more water, or can I work on my sleep, or, all of our
Yeah.
non-negotiable for health and wellness. So I call it the spark, or the spark, or the perfect addition to a holistic health regimen. So, and it's age reversal, so it's perfect because I want to help many, many more people to redefine age and longevity with these patches. So that's the main thing that I focus on, and that I do some expose with dear friend also and colleague from FNLP, and we have a ball when we do some expos together. So whenever I do something, I can let you know, but it's
Yeah.
always in my area.
Well, and I know this is probably, it could be a long-winded uh, answer, but could you give a little taste to our viewers and listeners? What is the medical background, or what is it that is the catalyst that how does the patch work?
Sure. I'll give you the shortest version. The
Yeah, yeah,
shortest
because
version.
inquiring minds want to know.
I'm aware of the time, so shortest version. So this little patch,
Yeah.
there is there is a nano-crystallized compound in the middle. It's all sealed. Anyway,
Hmm.
the back, you can peel it off if you want to stick it on your skin or on your clothes, actually, because this little patch gets activated by the infrared heat, by the life force of your body. And then the frequency that is in the patch will send a signal to your brain to produce various peptides or amino acids that the body is supposed to produce when you are younger or when you are healthier or when you are less toxic. Because what we found also more and more is that even some young children or even some teenagers, they're not producing enough of all the peptides and amino acids that one needs to produce to be healthy.
Wow.
So that's one part of what it does, but also the hero patch X39 activates the production of a peptide called GHKCU, that if you look at all the benefits of that peptide, it's the fountain of youth. It's the best age reversal, not just anti-aging, but age reversal peptide that the body can produce. And so this little patch, it's
Hmm.
like the sun in contact with your skin,
Yeah.
will activate your body to produce vitamin D or to produce melanin according to various frequencies and all sorts of different factors. But that's the principle of how the patch works. And the inventor, David Schmidt, is a true believer in nature. He always looks at how nature works, and all his science is nature-based and clinically proven because he's also a scientist. He's not just
Yeah.
intuitive or anything like that. He's a man of faith who always even add prayers, and uh, obviously he must have a great intuition. He's really uh, very open to all these wonderful downloads, but at the same time he's got the scientific background and he knows a lot about all dimension of health and wellness. But there's I think that nowadays there's about 130 patents and 90 clinical studies and growing. So it's, FDA registered as a class 1 medical device. It's not some kind of a new woo-woo thing that the new fab, it has existed for 20 years actually, but only in 2019 that the stem cell activation patch, the GHKCU peptide, is by a biochemical chain reaction also activating your body to produce younger and healthier stem cells. So that's how it goes into repair, regeneration, and age reversal.
That is amazing. And I I I just remember about a year ago my middle son, who will be commissioned as a lieutenant in the Army when he graduates college in May, he was sharing with me. He said, "Mom, I think it's the same person with the LifeWave that he originally started this for. Was it the Army or Navy?
NASA,
Is
yes, he
that
started
or
with NASA.
oh,
He
okay.
he was part of a think tank for
Yes, that's what he was
NASA,
telling me.
where NASA wanted someone to come up with something that would not be a drug
Hmm.
to keep the Navy SEALs awake for long period at a time, like a 36 hours at a time in submarines. And David Schmidt won the competition. And that's how actually he created his first patch that was called Energy Enhancer, that still exists, that I love as well, that
Wow.
activates your body's cellular energy to produce more cellular energy, the mitochondria producing more ATP, etc. And thank goodness, at some point NASA had to drop the contract.
Yeah.
Possibly it was because of 9/11. I'm not sure exactly, but
Right. To then
that's
introduce it to
how
the
he
public.
get the technology back and patent it and create it in a way and put it as direct sale, because he didn't want, this is the kind of technology that works so well. I know
Mhm.
it's a little bit controversial what I'm going to say. I hope I can.
Okay, you can say whatever you want.
Well, it's the kind of technology that if it had been in shelves of, sold by big stores, it would have been squashed
Yeah. Oh,
because it works too well.
right.
And also that he wanted people to get the education. It's easy to use, but at the same time, when you get the education, when you get the background, when you get more, you get more benefit from it.
Hmm.
And that's how I call it, that when somebody buy the patches from me or from LifeWave through me, that they get the whole package, in the sense that at some point, if they are open to it, I will kind of look a little bit at their nutrition, at their lifestyle,
Yeah,
etc.,
that's
etc.
wonderful.
So,
So, for people that are interested in contacting you with your services, LifeWave, how can we connect with you for all our viewers and listeners today?
well, I can give you my email address, my text number, and also my general website, because the LifeWave website, it can be a bit too confusing, and I always want to talk to people
Sure.
before, them doing anything else or deciding anything else. So, um, do you want me to?
Sure, let us know right now. And then what I'll do is I will reiterate that in the show notes for anyone
Okay,
that's driving that wants to just hear it and then just write it down later. But what is your contact information?
okay, so my email address is wellnessmhr at gmail.com. If you think that with my accent I need to spell it, I can.
I think we're good, but go ahead, go for it. Well,
Okay. So WELLNESS, M for mother, H for hotel, R for rodeo, at gmail.com. My text number is 941 468 8034.
okay,
And my website, my personal website, is holistic, with an HOLISTIC, wellness, MHR.com.
wonderful. Well, this has been such a pleasure. I mean, I could just spend hours just listening and you just sharing your wisdom and everything that you have shared with us today. So fascinating. I really want to have you back on and and really just share with us about your experiences with animals and the dolphins, and that's a whole nother chapter. So I would love that. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to be on my show. It was such a pleasure. We've been planning this for a while, Marie-Helene. So thank you very much.
Well, Leslie, I know that with the interactions that we've had, you you always bring so much of all the amazing times for me, like, with the horses, with the animals, with nature, with uh,
Oh,
health and wellness. And so I really deeply appreciate any time that we had a communication, a connection. And I just have to say quickly that
yeah.
you have, I don't know if it's like when you look straight, you have like the most beautiful light right on your pineal gland, on your third eye. And
I love that.
that's really beautiful. I keep staring at it the whole time. So I don't know if I will be the only one seeing it, but it's right there.
Oh,
It's there. So uh,
thank you very much.
pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure. And for everybody, all our viewers and listeners today, please remember to get out there, ground with Mother Earth, Also, if you could subscribe, like my podcast, write a review, that would be wonderful. And just remember to keep it dirty. Take care and have a great day.